to another episode of Call Her Holy, best day of the week.
Heck yeah.
My name's Laura Eldridge.
And I'm Nico Laura Bradley.
And we're honestly so thankful. The past 2 episodes, hearing from y'all has been so dope.
Oh my gosh, y'all, I was super encouraged just by all of your feedback, all of your reposting. And if you haven't checked them out, we dropped Singleness and Wounds from Dating, and they are fire.
Gosh, y'all's feedback has really been moving. Like, some of them have brought me to tears.
Yeah, y'all have been so encouraging and just honestly been hype girls for Call Her Holy. And we're really grateful because the reason that we do this is for y'all.
Yeah, and here's the thing. This is not what this episode is about, but Hebrews 10:24 says to encourage one another daily. And you just really don't know the power of your words. Like, what you do when you just speak specifically to another person and say, here's what I've seen and here's how this about you has impacted me. It just is such a great reminder to be like, God's working. So thank y'all.
Yeah, so encouraged by all your messages, and just know that we are here for you and we love hearing y'all, and we love to hear what the words that we've spoken have been saying to you guys.
Yes. Nico, what's your QLU?
Oh, hey-o. Also, for those that might be new, a QLU is something we are trending, and it is called a quick life update. So, oh my gosh, I'm going to London for Christmas.
Stop it.
Yeah.
With your family or who?
Dude, my sister moved there, and we're going there for 8 days.
I thought you were going to say by myself, and I was going to ask are you one of those solo travelers that just, I always kind of wanted to be that person.
Actually, a year ago, I went to Scottsdale for 4 days after I called off my engagement by myself, and don't judge. I was like, I'm going to get this 5-star hotel, and I am going to go to the spa, I'm going to go to the pool, and I'm going to hike. To this day, this might be one of the best trips I've ever been on.
That sounds glorious.
So I am in full support of you ladies. Go on a solo trip. No judgment aside. I ate lunch by myself. I went to the pool by myself. I was like, this is incredible.
Glorious.
Shopped by myself. Y'all, I'm here for it.
Amazing.
Laura, what's your QLU?
Mine is, I just had a birthday.
Oh, happy birthday. How old did you turn?
31.
Girl. You don't look
I feel great about it, though.
22.
I feel chill.
Yeah.
I feel like getting to 30, you're like, oh, shoot. And then you're like, it's fine. I'm fine. Well, maybe not everyone's like that, but I'm fine.
Yeah.
I also am moving houses. So I literally just closed on a house yesterday, on our house. So the house we're sitting in is technically not mine anymore. We're leasing it back, and we'll move out of this in a couple weeks.
But exciting, because we will have a brand new podcast studio in your new house.
And people who are so much better at design than I am are going to help put it together.
Absolutely. So if you have any desire to be part of our design team, holler at your ladies.
Let us know. Okay, what are we talking about today, Nico?
Okay, I'm really excited about today because we're kind of mixing it up. If you are on social media and you follow a lot of different Christian pastors, Christian bloggers, I feel like the trend right now is red flags in dating.
Oh, it's everywhere. Even in the non-Christian world, it's all the red flags. But what's funny is that we had this episode planned before that trend even came out.
What, 2 months ago?
Yes.
Yeah. And we're going to spice it up a little bit because I feel like a lot of times you hear 5 red flags, 3 things to be aware of. Today we are dropping 33 red flags.
Oh,
Hey-yo! Y'all, you're going to be tired of us at the end of this because you're going to be like, I didn't even know 33 existed, but they do.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be great. Should I just jump straight in?
Yeah, and I think the reason behind our heart in this, just to encourage y'all, is that we did put just questions on dating, and a lot of you sent back questions of, how do I know if he's the right one? How do I know if we should continue dating? How do I have discernment in this? And I think that this is how we want to answer those questions, is that by giving you 33 red flags and things to be aware of, I think that's going to give you a pretty good roadmap of whether, to be honest, you should either break up, stay together, continue towards engagement, or marriage.
Okay, really quickly, I just need to, I need to share some funny ones.
Oh my gosh, please hit me.
Here's one that said, single at 29, do you have Snapchat? Oh gosh. What's another funny one? I know I'm a first-time guest, but God told me you're my husband.
Woof. Yeah, if someone said that to you at church for the first time, run. Unless he's really funny.
I don't think people would actually say I'm a first-time guest, though. That's weird.
That's the red flag right there.
Yeah, totally.
Anyways,
Okay, anyways, there's some really funny ones flying around, but
go follow us on Instagram. We're going to be posting them throughout the week. They're a pretty good time.
And then real ones. I'm going to go straight into the first one.
Yeah.
Because it's, if you love me, you will, ... So manipulative. Let's just be straight up. And we fall into this trap. If you love me, you will X. And it's like, I don't even think that one needs an explanation.
Yeah, I will say I have been in a relationship where the guy I was dating said, if you love me, you will do blank. And ladies, run for the hill. Red flag. Number 2 is too much too soon. I feel like you have a really good answer on this, Laura.
Here's what we mean by this. There's some old proverb. I don't think it's a biblical proverb, but it's just a little quote that says, a fire quickly kindled quickly fades. And I've seen that to be true, and I've experienced it looking at a lot of other girls who just date, and you start dating and you're just immediately infatuated. You go all in, you're talking marriage immediately, and you haven't known each other really at all before this. And that's a red flag because you honestly don't know the person.
And it's based around infatuation. I can attest to that I was in a relationship like that where within 3 months we said I loved you. And that created an emotional bind that I don't think was ever created to be that soon. And it was too fast.
Totally. Side note, I learned this just being plugged into Christian community. Don't say I love you until you're ready to commit to loving that person for the rest of your life.
Yeah, because love is not a noun, it's a verb.
Yes. I love it. Number 3, if he doesn't like your family or doesn't make an effort to get to know them or your friends.
Yeah, y'all, that is so important.
One of my favorite things about Colby is that he loves my friends.
Yeah.
Like he treats you. You walked in today and he's like, "What's up, girl?" You know, he treats you like his sister, and I love it.
Yeah, I think that's so important because how they end up treating your family is how they're going to treat you.
100%. And a lot of times, if they really care about you, they're going to invest in the people around you.
Yeah.
So,
number 4 is a term that is kind of being thrown around in the last year. I feel like just on social media, and that is gaslighting. And for those that don't know what that means, it is when you're in a relationship and you are constantly feeling confused. If you look it up on Google, I'll just define it so that people know. It is a loosely defined term as somebody making you question your own reality. And have you ever heard of gaslighting?
Maybe some examples. For instance, when you're like, "Hey, that really hurt my feelings," and they kind of come back with like, "Well, you're just being
too
sensitive." Yeah.
Yeah. Or you're so emotional. Why would you say that?
Yeah.
Signs of being gaslighted is that you are isolated. If you're constantly feeling like you're crazy in a relationship, I know that I've talked to a lot of girls of like, I just feel like I'm going crazy. And then we kind of navigate the words that are being spoken. That could be a sign of gaslighting. If you're constantly apologizing, that could be a sign that you are in a gaslighting relationship. If you're unhappy all the time, or you're making excuses for your partner, or you feel like you can't do anything right, or you're not good enough. We can go into a deep dive on this. If you have more questions, feel free to DM us. We might even end up doing a full episode on this, but those are just signs of your partner gaslighting, and run.
Yeah, and it's basically comes down to emotional manipulation.
Yeah.
And that's real, and it can be so hard to discern. So even as we're talking, if somebody's like, how do I know I'm being gaslit? Like, how do I know this guy is kind of emotionally manipulative? And it takes a lot of discernment. It takes a lot of people around you.
Yeah, and I would ask the hard questions. Bring the things that he is saying to your community and let them speak into it, because I've been in a relationship where gaslighting was present, and when you're in the relationship, it's hard to recognize that it's happening.
So true. I'm just going to say this to every girl listening to this podcast. You are worth way more than you think you are. Like, you need to buckle up and strap on like the truth, because you straight up, you're just worth so much.
Yeah.
And we act like these wounded little mice coming to these guys like, thank you for dating me because I see how messy I am inside. And it's like, guess what? That bro is too. Like, he's just as broken as you are. You have a savior. If you know Jesus, then you are worth being in a relationship. I'm sorry.
Girl, say it louder for the back. And y'all, what if you change your perspective that he's also lucky to date me rather than I'm so lucky to be with him? You bring a lot to the table. Don't doubt yourself.
Yes. Okay. Number 5 is he's not in community. y'all, if he is not confessing sin, talking to guys in his life, asking them questions, like he should be saying, hey, I think I'm going to ask her on a date. What do you guys think? And letting them speak in before he even approaches you. He should be meeting with guys who are challenging him, who are holding him accountable to who God's word says that he should be. And he should be letting you know that he has those guys around him and that you are not his community.
Yeah, and you never want to be with someone that their opinion is the only one that's leading them, because you're going to be led astray. Number 6, this is one of my favorite ones. I heard this in a Ben Stewart podcast, and he goes, if you don't want to go on a road trip with them and you're anxiously awaiting the gas station.
Honestly, this is so specific. I'm like, Ben, did that happen to you?
No, I loved it because I have been in a car ride, whether that be with a guy or even just someone that you have to drive down somewhere with, and you are just sitting there going, where's the closest Buc-ee's? Get me out of this vehicle. If you cannot drive with someone for a long period of time, how do you expect to spend the rest of your life with them?
Okay, this happened to me once.
Oh, no.
I was on a first date with a guy, and he asked me on a second date. It went terrible. The first date was awful. It was dreadful, and both of us knew it.
Oh, boy.
And then he asked me on a second date when we still had like 5 or 6 minutes left to get to the house. Oh, my gosh.
So you're like, I need to deny you, but there's still time left.
Yeah, like, oh, gosh. Anyways, number 7, he treats waiters poorly. This can be a really general one. In general, watch the way he treats people. Watch the way he treats his mom. Watch the way he treats strangers. If he treats them like scum, I'm sorry. Are you submitting to biblical principles? Like, do you care about people? Do you put people over yourself? How he treats his people is how he's going to treat you.
And how he's going to treat people that can do nothing for him says a lot about his character.
Yeah, that's good.
Number 8, doesn't seek to understand you when you express your feelings.
I feel like this is a maturity one.
Yeah, I agree.
I feel like a lot of guys, so girls, here's what we're not saying. If you see any flaws, like run for the hills. That's not what we're saying. If overwhelmingly a lot of these things are present, like start the conversation. Number 8, though, like what you're saying, when he doesn't seek to understand when you express feelings, that could be handled as simply as, hey, I don't feel like you try to seek understanding. You know?
I think that's a really good way to have a conversation of like, hey, when I express something that's hard, I would love for you to dig in a little bit more and ask follow-up questions. I think the problem is when he negates your feelings or doesn't want to understand how you're feeling, but just tells you to get over it.
That's good. Yeah. Number 9, he's not in the word daily.
Ooh, y'all, you need a man that abides daily, because you only know how to love someone if you know the way that Christ loves you. And if he's not abiding daily with the Lord, he's not going to love you well, because Christ is love.
That's good.
This is my favorite one. If he does not like crumble cookies.
I cannot believe you put this on the list. Oh my God. You really just snuck it in there.
It came out hot. Y'all, I'm just here. Say it louder for the people in the back. If you have not tried crumble cookies, then I'm just gonna.
Is this episode sponsored?
It should be. If you're listening to this, crumble cookies, find me and I will literally rep you till the day I die.
Oh
Anyways,
gosh.
if he doesn't like crumble, if you don't like crumble, I'm questioning your sanity.
Y'all are so funny. I feel like it's like if he doesn't like chocolate. Those people, if you're one of those people, I'm sorry. Is that you?
I don't really like chocolate.
Oh my gosh.
Only every once in a while during that time of the month, I'm like, I could do some chocolate. Outside of that, not a huge fan.
Oh my gosh. I'll contain my rage for just a second.
Distaste.
A distaste. Number 11, he tells you you're pretty only when you dress up or do your makeup.
This one breaks my heart because I know a lot of girls that have experienced this. I've experienced this in a relationship, and man, I just think there's so much power in a man that can compliment you and sing your praises on a day when you're not trying. And the reality is that when you're married, you are not going to be done up every single day. And you want to find someone that goes, hey, the reason I think you're beautiful has nothing to do with your external, but the reason I'm marrying you is because you are truly one of the most beautiful women I know because of your character. Because y'all, you only get an uglier the older you get. I'm sorry. It's going downhill. I'm already experiencing it. And y'all, you want to marry a man that's like, hey, I think you're beautiful and you don't even need to try.
Yeah, on the other side of it, there are a lot of real life moments that are full of just ugly,
Mm,
especially being as sick as I've been lately with morning sickness. And
yeah.
it's like, Colby can look at me and be like, you look terrible. And I feel secure because he's helped make me feel secure because I know that he delights in me. And it's more than just how I'm looking in a moment. And I've seen other relationships where the boyfriend or husband will kind of make comments at their body all the time. And that's just like, it's one thing to encourage somebody to steward their body well, and it's another thing to make jabs that are shallow and not helpful.
Kind. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
So,
I think that's just a good way to end it. It's just someone that's kind. And someone that's kind is not going to expect something like that.
yeah, it's good.
All right, next one is number 12. He expects sexual favors.
Listen, run for the hills. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
If he's pushing physical boundaries at all, he's not abiding with Jesus, and he's probably not in biblical community unless he's coming to you and saying, hey, I am deeply sorry.
Yeah.
This was not okay. We need to approach our community immediately.
Yeah.
And then there's still just like, be careful of what situations you're putting yourself in, because sometimes it's like, yeah, you should desire each other. That's good and healthy, and we can get into a whole nother slew of sometimes that doesn't always have to be the case.
Mm.
But stop putting yourself in the same room watching a movie at midnight. Like, yeah, of course you're going to hook up.
Yeah.
But if he's pushing boundaries with you, like where there's sin, there's more sin. So run. It's showing you how he's going to respect you, and that's not respecting you.
Yeah. And I love that it says expects. If your man A expects, get out. But also, if he doesn't respect you, that means he doesn't respect his heavenly Father.
It's good. Number 13, talks poorly about people behind their backs.
Yeah, I think that's just a character issue. And I
Yeah.
think that is something you need to be aware of, because we are told, do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouth unless it benefits those that listen. And if he is just constantly engaging in gossip or tearing down other people, then that's a red flag that he could be doing the same thing to you.
Some of the girls listening to this episode are like, oh, shoot, that is me.
Yeah, that's also convicting for the ladies. So make sure you're not the one that's engaging in gossip either.
On that, I have a friend who has a sign in her cube. It literally says, I will defend those who aren't present here.
That's
and so
great. I
she's
love
like
that.
committed to, I'm going to speak up for people who aren't here to speak up for themselves.
That's good. Number 14, he treats his parents disrespectfully.
Yeah, back to the way he treats people. I said this earlier about how he treats his mama. That's kind of like a known thing. A lot of this stuff isn't Bible. It's
Cultural.
Got anything to say on that, Nico?
I just think that it goes back to how he treats his mother is how he's going to treat you. So I think honestly, if he expects his mom to do everything for him when he visits her, he will also expect you to do everything for him if you get married.
Number 15, you're the only one who knows this, but ... Okay, as a general rule, he should have somebody who knows everything about him.
Yeah.
You should have somebody who knows everything about you, preferably same gender. Not preferably, it should be the same gender. You should be authentic with your community. And what can happen in relationships is you can form this emotional bond that creates a false intimacy by information sharing.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it happens in friendships. And so people become so close, and then they end up going through heartbreaks before they even date. I did it.
Yeah.
And just be wary of that.
Honestly, I've got nothing else to say to that.
That's good.
Number 16, he won't have hard conversations, and he just will tell you what you want to hear. Or you can say it, he's just too perfect.
Oh, yeah. I end up not respecting those guys. That's the thing for me. Like, if I feel like I can walk all over you, I kind of lose respect for you. But I don't think a lot of girls are like that. Like, I think some girls are so desperate for affection, and I was so desperate for affection in different ways.
Yeah.
That I would overlook things. Like, we overlook red flags because we just want to be loved and we want to feel cared for and seen and wanted.
Yeah.
I still want to be wanted, But I think there's something about a guy who isn't willing to look at you and say, hey, I want to make you look more like Jesus. I'm going to help you grow here, which is what he's called to do. The scriptures literally say, like, to present her blameless, holy and blameless before the Lord. Like, that's a husband's job.
Yeah, I had a conversation with my boyfriend the other day, and it was so helpful of just him honestly encouraging me in an area that he saw was weak. And I'm like, man, this is what it looks like to be a partnership, because you don't want a perfect relationship, because then there's no realness to that.
Yeah,
You know what I
that's
mean?
good. And we'll talk about the opposite end of that spectrum later.
Yeah, love that. Number 17, his priorities. Ladies, I think you need to look at what this guy loves. Does he choose hobbies over spending time with you, or choose his hobbies over spending time with the Lord?
Is he spending like 18 hours a day playing video games?
Yeah. Does he spend every weekend playing golf instead of attending church? I think that's a big red flag if his life revolves around that, because honestly, whatever takes priority in his heart outside of dating is going to take priority when you're married too.
Yeah, that's so true. If one of his activities is clubbing or like going to the bars on the weekend, that's probably, I mean,
Not ideal.
yeah.
He'll probably do that when you have kids, and you don't want your husband to be going to the club when you're at home with your first newborn.
You just want somebody who wants to walk with Jesus. Like,
Yeah.
I say that unapologetically, and it's not that easy to follow Jesus while you're going out every weekend.
Yeah. And
So-
I think to make sure that he supports you in the things that you love too is really important. And we're not saying don't support him in his hobbies, but make sure that it doesn't consume his life.
Like, he's not a hobbyist. That's all he does.
We'll love that.
That's good. Number 18, he isolates you from your community or doesn't like your Christian friends.
Y'all, that is such a red flag, especially if he is telling you you don't need them. I don't like them. I don't like the wisdom that they are giving you. I met with a girl for coffee the other day, and he made her leave her church, leave her community group, and told her, if you want to be with me, you will not do that anymore. And she stayed.
Wow.
And my heart breaks for her, because she is setting herself up for a really hard marriage.
There's always something going on there. I think there's either a long-term plan in a sense of he's going to isolate you and then turn abusive. That kind of happens.
Yeah.
Ugh, it's just devastating. Or he's going to isolate you in order to be able to control you, which is a form of abuse. Or there's something more there in a sense of like, he doesn't want the relationship to be threatened. He doesn't want to be called out. He wants to be able to kind of say what he wants, do what he wants without any checks or balances. And that's not what godly men do.
Yeah.
Godly men show up to your friends and say, if you hear of one thing that I could be doing better, please come to me immediately.
Yeah, I think something cool that I've seen my friends' husbands do is that they have come to a community group and gone, hey, if you hear something that doesn't seem like I'm loving your friend well, please bring me into the conversation, as well as talk to my community about it, because I never want to do something that's hidden or in secret. And I think that is so powerful.
Gosh, this is wild. Like, that is so countercultural.
Yeah.
Number 19, he makes you feel like you're lucky to be with him.
Oh,
Otherwise known as pride, arrogance,
y'all, we all
narcissism.
know. Yes, we all know the guy in high school that is like the most popular, and he just knows he's the it show. We are telling you right here, right now, that is not the man that you want to date. So good for you that you might have got him to date you, but break up with him, because you should never feel like you are lucky to be with someone.
If it's all about him now, it's going to be all about him forever.
Do you want to spend the rest of your forever being about somebody else? Or
and some girls are like, yes. And the answer is like, no, you're worth more than that.
You're worth way more than that. Number 20 is that he is controlling and easily angered.
Yeah. We just, the things that we do, like the things that we forgive, and that's not to say don't be forgiving. It's to say be wise.
Yeah.
Because you are considering, I think a lot of times we forget that dating is not just, are we compatible? Can we make it work? Do we still like each other in a year? Like, do we have great sexual chemistry? Dating is to see if that's the person you want to yoke yourself to for the rest of your life. And in biblical times, a yoke literally meant like what two oxen would carry a cart. And if one was a lot weaker than the other, then the cart would go jagged, like it would go sideways. And so you're looking to see, are we equally yoked? Does he challenge me to be more like Jesus? Is he going to respect me? Is he going to love me? Is he going to die to himself and put me first? Is this the kind of person that when things get ugly, he's not going to blow up, get controlling, get really angry? He's going to seek Jesus and
be kind
and stay calm.
Yeah. And you have to ask yourself, do you want this man to control and get angry at your children one day?
Yeah.
It's not just about you. It's about the children that you might bring into this world.
That's good. Number 21, he's still getting drunk or high.
I don't really know what else to say about that, except if he is getting drunk on the weekends or during the week and still smoking some sort of drug, run.
Yeah. Any recreational drug. I mean, the book of Romans says to follow the law.
Yeah.
So
if he's breaking the law, leave.
there's that. I think what happens is that people get too far in. And what happened always for me is several guys would pretend to be quote unquote better than they were. And they'd be these like great Christian guys. And then 6 months in, they can't keep up that facade. And then they're getting wasted and getting high. And then it's like, oh, but this is just a phase. Or you find any excuse for them. No.
Yeah, I think you need to get past the honeymoon stage before you make that critical decision of if you're going to marry them, because you can put on a pretty good show for a couple months, but that can only last so long. So make sure
especially
you push
if
through
he's
it.
not known. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If he doesn't check out with people around you.
Yeah. Number 22, he's really lazy and he makes excuses.
Yeah, Psalm 15 says, who can be in the presence of the Lord? Who can go to the holy hill? It's kind of a weird way of saying that, but it's the person who keeps his commitments even when it hurts, is one of the descriptors.
Yeah. Is he a sloth? Does he spend his whole weekend playing video games? Does he make excuses for when he gets fired from a job all the time? Is this his 8th job in the last year? Pay attention, ladies.
Yeah, can he keep a commitment? Is
Yes.
he disciplined? Yeah, those are good. Number 23, he can't say, I'm sorry.
Y'all, that goes back to pride. But I think there's nothing better than a man that can look you in the eyes and go, I'm sorry for saying this. I'm sorry for doing this. Will you forgive me?
Yeah, and to genuinely mean it.
And to genuinely mean it, because that means that he sees the hurt that he caused you and he wants to repent of it.
Colby's the best at this. It's amazing.
Oh, we love that. Oh boy. Number 24, he is still addicted to porn.
Yeah. A lot of times he'll hide it. And this is not to make you guys like, oh my gosh, on the edge of your seats, like thinking the worst of whatever guy that you're with. But he should be honest with you about his history with porn.
Yeah. And I think there's a difference between I messed up once in the last year compared to I have messed up once every 2 weeks. Because if he's consistently messing up when it comes to this, that means that he hasn't healed from this. And I would just encourage you to maybe take a break until he has fought that battle and he's beat that battle. Obviously, there's grace, but you don't want to be in a relationship with someone that's still really struggling with that.
Yeah, we can do a whole episode on that. It's just really, it's really challenging. And a lot of couples in the outside of the church world, and maybe inside the church world, a lot of couples will use porn and sex, and that's just completely off limits.
Yeah.
That's introducing another person who was made in the image of God into your sex life, which was meant to be an intimate thing between you and the person that you've committed your life to.
Yeah.
Number 25, your friends aren't celebrating you two together.
Man, I've been in a relationship where people didn't celebrate us, y'all. And I just want to let you know that's a really sad image on your wedding day.
Unless you have the most terrible friends, like they usually know, you know what I mean? You just don't want to listen to them.
And your friends have known you the longest. So why don't you trust them? I think that if your friends can't champion you and say, yes, we see this as a good marriage, I would really pay attention to that. And my roommate, actually, she told me a story how she had to confront one of her friends. Like, I love you enough to tell you. So I think this goes 2 ways. I think if your friends aren't championing it, question, but also be a good enough friend to step into your friends' relationships. And when you see red flags in their dating relationship, even if it risks your friendship, they will thank you later for being honest.
Yes, that's good. I'm going to add one caveat to that.
Yeah.
because we don't mean your party friends. Because what might happen
Good
is
call.
if you've had radical life change and then you start dating someone and your party friends are gonna feel like you're different. Like, I don't like who you are with
Yeah.
him. Thank you. I'd love to introduce you to the God that I know. Let me tell you why. So that's not what we mean. We mean your friends who aren't just Christians, who are straight up following Jesus.
That's good. I love that.
27. He's all words and no action.
Y'all, love is a verb, not a word and not a noun. So if he is not doing things out of action and it's only words, that in a weird way is manipulation. You know what I mean? If he is simply just giving you words to make you feel a certain way, but is not actually following it up, I would question his faith, because God and Jesus were all action. He washed his disciples' feet.
Yeah, you just want a guy who's going to do what he says.
Love that. Number 28, he loves Jesus, but doesn't go to church.
Nope.
Yeah, I saw someone the other day. He posted, gosh, what he said? He goes, her feed or her caption on Instagram says she loves Jesus, but her pictures on Instagram says she loves her body. And I was like, that is a word. You know what I mean? Their little caption below their first photo is like, I love the Lord, but then they're naked in every photo. I'd question that.
Snap. Literally, the book of Hebrews says, do not neglect meeting together as some are in the habit of doing. You cannot love Jesus without loving his church, even if you have been hurt by the church. So same goes for your men. You want them to be submitted to biblical community, submitted to elders, which we can go in depth there later. But you just want them to be submitted to a local church.
Love that. Number 29, he loves Jesus, but.
So kind of like the other one, except for he loves Jesus, but anything. If he starts like that, like, yeah, I'm a Christian, but no.
But I love to smoke marijuana on the weekends. I love God, but I also believe in premarital sex. I'm like,
yeah, it's like Hannah V. I love Jesus, or I've had sex and God still loves me. Well, yeah, that is true. He does still love you. But what are you saying there? You're trying to say that you can do what you want to do and there are no consequences, and that's not biblical or true.
Yeah, dude, if he has ever said that sentence to you, get out. Love that.
Number 30. We're getting close. When he says, I'm just not ready. Oh, it's cringy. It's making me cringe.
I'm so uncomfy right now.
Guys want to have their cake and eat it too. That's just kind of, that happens. This is not a guy bashing party. This is just not. No. Because girls, a lot of you guys, I've had a lot of these wounds too. You know what I mean? At some point in my life, I'm like, shoot. And so this is not to be bashed. Like, everything is subject to God's grace. But when he says, I'm just not ready, like, I think our hearts can get away with us when we really like someone. Yeah. And it feels nice. Again, it feels nice to be desired, to have that kind of attention. And if he's just not ready, then he shouldn't be treating you like his girlfriend. Yeah. If he's not calling you his girlfriend, he shouldn't be acting like you're his girlfriend. Yeah.
And if he's not ready to commit, man, my heart hurts for you. You're going to be wasting time emotionally. And that just is heartbreaking to think of dating someone for 2 years and getting to the end of, I knew he wasn't ready when we started dating 2 years ago. And now I'm so invested and he's still not there. That's painful.
Yep.
Number 31, he is secretive with his phone. And y'all, here's the deal. If he's secretive with his phone, he's hiding something from you. And he's going to continue to do it. We don't know what's on that phone. He could be hiding porn, another lady.
If he's secretive in general, that's just a thing, you know? So just watch, be wise. Again, the goal is to not let your heart just get carried away, like to be thoughtful and wise and grounded. I told my friend once, and she still refers to it and now tells a lot of other girls. She like came to me infatuated with this guy. I was like, yada, yada, yada. And I was like, Leslie, you're on cloud 9. We need to bring it down to cloud 1.
Yep.
And so I think we can just live up in the clouds and then nothing else matters. And it's like, no, observe him because there's probably something there and you are a smart girl.
Yeah, that's good. Number 32, all his friends are girls.
He needs to have friends with guys. That's just...
He needs community.
He needs people. So if he doesn't have any guy friends, I mean, this is not like some indictment on him, but truly, like, ask who the bros are in his life who are leaning in.
Number 33, Laura, take us home.
This may be the biggest red flag of all of them.
Yeah.
If he is interested in you. Sometimes the biggest red flag is that he straight up is attracted to you and trying to pursue you. And you know you're not right with God. You have your own crazy issues that aren't resolved. You dress inappropriately and use your body to get attention. If he's interested in you and trying to pursue you, that's a red flag. Because he should have a standard that says, I want a wife who is noble and of good character, who shows modesty, who embodies the things that a wife should be in Scripture.
And I think that's where you need to take a look at yourself. And I think you need to ask yourself, man, even out of these red flags that consist around men and dating, where do I fall in these? Am I matching up to these? And compare yourself to a Proverbs 31 woman and go, man, am I kind? Or am I constantly seeking my own self? Honestly, take a look at your Instagram page. Are you only in bikini pics in every single one? And you're quoting that you love Jesus at the top?
Yeah, with the look back, like, you know, you got your butt.
I can't.
Psalm 23 with your butt all in the picture. That happened.
The tattoo.
Wounds attract wounds. And so sometimes an unhealthy person will attract an unhealthy person. And it can be a good thing if they're scars that have been surrendered to Jesus and are showing a savior. If that person is humble and uses their story and you're the same, that should be very attractive. But if you're attracted to another person's crazy because you're just as crazy, I don't mean crazy in like a silly way that we use that word. I mean, you have some serious things to work through.
And then that's where you get to DM us on Instagram and we get to talk about it. And y'all, we are here for you. And we want to walk alongside you in things where you're like, man, I don't think I'm ready to date. And we would love to process that with you. Y'all, this has been fun. We just gave you 33 hot tips, red flags on what to stray away from if you are considering someone to date, engage, or get married to.
As always, test anything that we say or anything else you hear anywhere against God's word.
Absolutely.
That is your ultimate authority. And we love you guys. We're thankful to get to put some of this in front of you and hopefully spare you from some of the mistakes that we've made in our past.
So true. Y'all are the best. Thank you for listening. Shoot us DMs and
see you next time.
Bye, y'all.